Hey there, Tuz and Tim here. We want to share a little bit about what's been coming up for us. We're in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and have just had a really great 3 days working with Indigenous and non-Indigenous youth. And as we were sharing with each other and talking about what is happening for people here and what's happening for people kind of across the world, we kind of stumbled upon this idea around what if equity were our natural state. And what I mean by that is, for me, having worked years in social justice and in gender justice and racial justice, I've always thought of equity as something to strive for. It's kind of this imagined future that we want to work toward. And so as we were together, we just began to think about, what if equity is our natural state and it's something to uncover or remember or not strive toward but get back to in a way that, for me, really begins to shift some of how I think about action.
Yeah, it's something that we, in our work, need to create the conditions for people to return to again and again. It's not something that we need to make up or force upon each other, that actually it is innately within every human being. And if we create the conditions, we can give people the experience of that inside themselves and in relationship to each other. And that, you know, that equity exists inside a human, just like peace and generosity and humility and clarity, and that these are some of the essences that we want to be creating the conditions for whenever we create the conditions for people to meet, because it is out of that type of internal state, both individually and collectively, that the kind of actions we need in the world could emerge. Like, for what? You know, for a society that serves everyone, right? And so for me, there's something quite profound as I begin to sink into this, that this is our natural state, and so much of what's happening in the world and the marketing we receive and the signs that we receive are actually drawing us out of that natural state to a point where it has begun to be uncomfortable to sit in our own peace, or to sit in our own clarity, or to sit in our own natural state of equity with each other. And that we are building our capacity to have comfort in that natural state again, to enjoy it.
That's right. And I think this comfort or this natural state does not mean that we are not fierce in creating the conditions. So I want to be really clear. We're not moving, I don't think, to a passive position on equity. For me, it actually makes me more active, maybe differently active, but it's not that I just expect equity to occur. I know I have to be fierce in creating those conditions, and I need to be disciplined, and I need to be rigorous, and I need to be watchful, and I need to be all of those things that we don't have any trouble thinking about. Oh, if we want to create more kindness, we have to kind of go for it. So I think that's true for equity too. It's simply a simple shift in somehow thinking equity is a nirvana that we can eventually get to, and instead of, like, it is actually what we are. It's how we are together. And so how do we fiercely create those conditions and go for uncovering that? So for me, it's actually quite activating. There's nothing passive about it.
I mean, right. I mean, it's like there's no way that we are going to be able to create the conditions for people and ourselves to get back to that natural state without engaging in equity.
That's right.
Right? Without engaging in gratitude.
That's right.
Without engaging confusion. Without engaging arrogance. Because these are things that are so pervasive in so much of the leadership and the problem solving that is happening in the world, that we have to move through those things. We have to engage them because they're as much part of us, right? And so there is a piece of going inside, both individually and collectively, and choosing.
That's right.
Choosing. What am I returning to?
I love this. It feels like it gives us more choice, more resourcefulness, more options.
All right, well, that's just a little snippet of some of what we've been talking about as we've been hanging out in cold but sunny and beautiful Thunder Bay.
Right.
Thank goodness for the sauna, which has become a fantastic container for conversation. Huh? Right. And look forward to catching up next time we get together.
Sounds great.
All right. Cheerio.